and a slam jam.
Hello?
Yo.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, man. So, I noticed we have a brief message history. Is it true I coached you like 2 years ago?
Yes.
Nice. Okay, that's fascinating. Obviously, my coaching has changed a lot since then. So, I guess my funny question would be to lead us off here. What were your impressions after our coaching session 2 years ago?
These were really good. I think I think the reason I wanted to come back is I took a long time off Dota, so like there were some huge changes recently. And yeah, you're just really helpful in terms of like thinking beyond trying to get last hits and denies, like actually thinking and using your brain in the game. And
That's a tough one
it's kind of
sometimes.
hard. It's kind of hard when you're trying to focus on all the minutia that you have to do while you're playing. So just wanted to link back up and yeah, talk about the state of the game now and just kind of go over some stuff with you.
Sure, man. So, how long did you take off?
Took probably like at least a year. Like when I came back, neutral items were like completely new. The outposts are completely new. The shrines were gone. So yeah, it was like really, really different. And then I think the most recent patch they nerfed like gold on the map and did a bunch of different stuff too. So yeah, it was a really different game for a while.
Okay, yeah, cool. So what's your more?
About 2750.
Okay, and back then, what did I coach you at?
Think I was like 2200 about.
Okay. So I was ready for you to be like 4K. No, I'm kidding. Okay. So what position do you play?
One.
Okay. Yeah, most of my coaching sessions back then were one, so that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So do you have some replays to go?
I do.
Okay.
I just kind of wanted to talk to you like conceptually about that game. I felt like I was really like the only late game option on my team. Yeah, and I didn't really like know how I should play it, I guess. Like I felt like my team couldn't go late, so I felt pressure to fight, but then at the same time I felt like maybe I should just farm and let them like skirmish as four. So yeah, I didn't really like know conceptually what to do. And PL felt tough for me. I don't have much experience with Luna PL.
I'm gonna first and foremost say that Luna versus PL not a good matchup. No, not good. Yeah, it seems like on paper for like the average player, maybe like Glaives would be okay against PL, but it's just not. Yeah, like Luna is actually really bad against this kind of shit because her Eclipse is a lot of her damage, right? So,
Right.
PL obviously just doesn't give a shit about that. It looks like it was a mid lane PL. I will also note that PA is quite good versus Luna. I think that matchup's incredibly hard to play simply because PA plus one at all stages of the game when she gets like two items will usually kill you. So it's like hard to deal with that matchup. I remember I used to play PA versus Luna, and that matchup would be hard from the Luna side. So maybe it's gotten a bit better with like the passive rework to Luna, but since I haven't played it since the new passive. So my question would be, when did you pick your hero? Like, what did you see here?
Believe I was fourth pick. Um,
And you saw Weaver in the two supports, or what?
yes, yes.
Cool. You had a Bane. Looks like
I wanted a Bane. I ended up with an Oracle.
okay. Oracle's still a pretty strong lane support if played properly, but much harder to play Oracle properly than it is to play Bane. So I look at their lineup, and the way I view these games when I'm like a hardcore farming hero, like Luna, is that there has to be some timing. Okay, so what I mean by this is in Dota, there's very few games where there's absolutely no timing for you. Like your draft is just so bad that you lost. So what I mean by this is even if I'm Alk against like two late game heroes, if I hit that Radiance at 14 and like BKB or Manta immediately after, that might be a small 2 minute window that we can hit where the enemy team can't stop us. We can fight them. We can take objectives, all that kind of shit. So I look at the opponent team, and I think your lane may be mediocre. Like, I'm not sure. We'll see how it ends up getting played. But they have 2 cores that don't want to fight for the first 15 to 20 minutes, okay? Once PL gets Defusal, he's pretty much a nightmare for you. And once PA gets, like, Battle Fury Deso or, like, Deso Basher, whatever she chooses to go, she's going to be a nightmare for you. But up until that point, you're pretty strong in comparison to these heroes. So, like, your level 6 timing is way more powerful than PA's. And your capability of fighting around your team is much higher than PL's. So what I'm saying here is I look at these lineups and what I think to myself is like, I don't feel comfortable forcing the issue because really you are the only hero to force the issue. You have an offlane Pudge. Puck can like make some space and she's strong against PL because he can't doppel out a coil and you guys can, you know, lock him down. But overall, I'm like, well, I'm this farming hero that also has to force the pace of the game. So the way I look at this is I immediately see this in the draft, or at least I try to identify this because I understand, like, you know, I'm giving you, you know, an AK player's view of a draft. I want you to see as much as you can in the draft. So I'm going to build whatever farming item allows me to do something. So in this case, I'd always go Helm Dom on Luna. I've seen some Necro books, but you know, I think that's fine too if you want to go that. Like either of the 2 farming steroids given to you by a active item, something that can help you do stuff. So that would be my game plan going here. The emphasis being like I'm working off of the opponent cores and how they relate to me. I know once PA gets 2 items, once PL gets Defusal, game's gonna be hard. I can't really do much. So if I go this like early build of like Helm Dom or Necro into like Manta, what I would hope is with the Helm Dom I get like 2 or 3 towers before that point in the game, right? Like before the point where these 2 heroes are scary to me. So the goal of getting those 2 or 3 towers is that even if they haven't quite hit that point yet, like say it's 15 minutes in, that both of them are going to be sharing farm at that point because you've taken a decent part of the map off for them. Like because you've taken 2 or 3 towers, maybe instead of having having like 2 separate jungles, maybe they're both like sharing the triangle or something. And so then you go for this like Manta farming item, which allows you to say, okay, I know the point coming that I'm not allowed to fight is here, or like the point that I'm not allowed to fight is coming. I still want to be strong, but we're going to chill a bit. You know, like I know that the next stage in those type of matchups are usually that since you now accrued a map control advantage, you're now going to get 900 GPM while they get 500. And then that's how you carry the game. Like, that's the only way. Like, it really is. So, in your bracket, that's much more possible than my bracket, right? Because the sheer inefficiency coming from the opponent will be surmountable in a drastic way if played properly. So, obviously, these are things that are hard to apply. Like, I know I gave you the whole rundown for this game, but usually I like to identify when do I think I can't really fight anymore, or like I don't want to fight them anymore. Like, what are their power spikes? What can I do before that happens? And then once that happens, you know, if it's against carries like PL and PA, it's like I want to shut off the map. If it's against, you know, team fighting lineups, I want to split push them. You know, like whatever their power is, I want to limit it, right? So farming heroes, I stop them from farming. Team fights, I avoid team fights. Split pushers, I buy maybe catch items. You know, like I'll buy, if I'm a hero that can catch them, kind of thing. Okay. You get the idea, though?
Absolutely.
Okay, long rant. Here we go. Cool. So let's go ahead and play it out.
Prepare for battle.
Starting items are reasonable. I'd probably end up flying myself another salve here. Or another tango, I mean. If I only have one queued up, I almost always have another one queued up. Or if I only buy one, I usually have one queued up. I can understand why you'd want the damage, though.
The battle begins.
So it looks like you're against Jakiro Weaver. Bit of an annoying lane.
Yeah, I thought it would be a tough lane, to be honest.
Against Weaver specifically, off lane, I just got a question for you. I like the analysis to practice here. Did you know it was Weaver off lane?
Didn't, but I thought it would be. I didn't
Okay.
think he was going to go safe over PA.
Okay. I'm guessing when you picked your hero is my question.
Right. No, not necessarily. I thought Weaver might be their carry.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. When they pick ambiguous heroes like Weaver, picking your hero can be a bit awkward. Against Weaver, I like illusion heroes, and I like heroes that kill him. Those are like usually the two options. So the other option would be Troll. Those are usually the heroes I like. So it's like Slark and Ursa are heroes that kill Weaver. Troll is a hero that doesn't really care about Weaver because Weaver just doesn't do enough damage to bother him. And then Illusion Heroes is the same thing as Troll, where Weaver just can't do enough. Like, that hero just can't kill you. So I'm just letting you know, when I see a Weaver, I'll generally look towards those types of heroes. Because obviously in drafting, when you're fourth picking, you're kind of just picking the best of your capabilities off of what you already see. So just something to consider. Like, I probably would have gone against those supports. Probably Slark, if I had to pick one. But okay. Playing the lane out. You picked your hero, not a big deal. It's not like Luna's a bad pick. Just something to think about. Okay. Lane's pushed out. Bit annoying. Every lane I go into, this is solo queue, right? This is solo queue, right?
Yep. Yeah. Solo queue.
So, did you happen to mention to your Oracle to queue range creeps?
Yeah. I was pinging to him and saying like, help me get the range, kind of thing.
Okay, I would just go into the laning phase saying, "Dude, I can't secure range. You need to queue it." And if he doesn't do it, so be it. But like, something I like to preliminarily think about going into the lane is like, how are we going to get range creeps? And nowadays, it's not nearly as important as it used to be, because the discrepancy in gold between melee and range got closed rather significantly with the last couple tweaks. There's not much of a gold difference, and the XP difference is maybe like 20%. The big deal is it is a creep in the lane. So, like, the reason you have to treat it differently is the range creeps are always farther back. The behavior of them is different. Like, you can't aggro them away from the opponent, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I just look at it as like, how do we secure the range? Because it's a fourth creep on the creep wave that acts differently than all the other ones. That's kind of how I look at it now. It's still very important, but every creep is really important right now. So if I have a 5 position, I like to, if I pick a hero that can't secure the range, the 5 position hero better be able to. So I don't like picking duo lane partners that neither of which secure a range. I actually just think it's really hard to lane, like really unreliable to lane. A lot of carries have some way of securing. If you're going to go passive on Luna, obviously she doesn't. Her beam is decent, but I've seen a lot of beam level at 1, so it's something to consider as well if you want to watch a couple replays of that. People, since they gave her more base ent and everything to work with, sometimes you can get away with much more beams, and it's just also for the potential, like if you're 5 positions like an AA or something, or a Jakiro, maybe you level beam in order to get that range creep. Okay. All things aside, I usually just communicate to my support, hey, use this spell to secure range. If they just don't do it, all the people in chat watching, if you're a support player, like, you guys need to think about who secures range and how you get it. Like, it's a huge thing that every high-level player thinks about. So, lane's pushed out. Your support has been late to the pull. Ouch. So you're going to take a lot of damage here. Yep. Okay.
Like, so when Jakiro starts like posturing up like this, I wouldn't know how to phrase it, but I don't really like know what to do. I just feel like exposed. I feel like scared, kind of, because Jakiro's obviously over to the left somewhere, and if I like posture up at all, he's gonna come out and they're both gonna hit me. So I don't know if I should just eat the loss and like back off here, or I don't know like the proper way to.
So I'm going to tell you something that I don't
15
usually get to
seconds.
say. Your instinct is correct here. Okay? So sometimes the answer would be like there's something you're missing and I have to tell you what that is. Other times, which this is actually the case, you're just right. There is no. This is just this is what you call understanding the lane equilibrium is not acceptable. Like this is not okay. I would have beamed this range creep and just run away. So my question would be, if you beam this range creep, let's play this out, okay? Act like you never knew what happened here, and you stay here. What's this Weaver gonna do as these creeps are gonna die? Like, notice how the lane's pushing into you, right? There's 4 enemy creeps, 3 of yours.
Right.
So after your creeps die, or towards the end of your creeps dying, what can this Weaver do? Like, what is his option? The reason why I mention this is when the opponent has more creeps than you, it usually means they can be aggressive, because if you try to fight them, you're eating creeps, right? Like
I would say his options would be just to posture up and make it. I can't walk up. He can use his W to like finish the last hits and get position on me and start
and then once he
me.
gets position on you, what's your option there?
Just either fight him or take a ton of damage, basically.
Well, if you fight him, what did I just mention? You're gonna
right. So it's probably either take a ton of damage or die, essentially.
Yeah, so you're gonna take a lot of damage, in which case you're running, or you're gonna like try to fight him and lose, right?
Right.
Okay. So what does that mean for you right now? What do you have to do?
It means even though it like feels bad, man, you just have to back off here.
Yeah, absolutely. You just have to. That's not something like. This is what I've realized as a carry. There are at the highest level. This actually happened. Like, I mean, when I say highest level, I'm talking like top 75 games. Like everyone in the game is top 75. Like,
okay.
I feel like this happens at least 5 times in a laning phase where I can't touch creeps, and then there's at least 4 or 5 times in the laning phase that the opponent can't touch creeps. Like. Because of the lane equilibrium shifts a lot of things, and people are really good at capitalizing on it in my bracket. It just leads to one guy like not being able to hit creeps. It's pretty funny. Not always, but like probably 30% of the lane, one guy can't hit a creep. And learning to like recognize like if I walk up here, what's gonna happen? It's not some advanced methodology that I come to. It's literally like this guy's gonna push W. He's gonna Sakuchi through that creep that he wants.
And I feel like Jakiro's gonna pop out.
Jakiro's gonna walk from the left, and then you're fucked, right? Right. You could even, by the way, in a lane like this, I always immediately go in thinking, if I feel fucked, what should be my immediate reaction if I feel fucked? Like if I see Jakiro coming from like over to the left through the trees, and Weaver Sakuchi's through the creep, what can I do? TP where?
To my tier 1.
Okay, yeah. Just that's
reset the lane, kind of.
Yes, it's obviously 75 mana, but you get 3 of those, and in every lane I'm playing in, I like to ask myself, is there an oh shit button? Like
right.
Is it a TP? Is there an ability I can press? But
if you're against an ogre instead of a Jakiro, there might not be.
Oh, absolutely, something. Yeah, and in that case, your positioning's even more fragile. But I do like to think to myself, if I have an option. That's why at the highest level, when you see these pros like instantly react with a TP, like I guarantee you they thought to themselves, if I ever get in a no shit spot here, I'm TPing. They thought that ahead of time. They didn't just like pull that out of their ass in like a quarter of a second.
Right.
So yeah, you get the Sakuchi on you. Notice how you went for a deny.
Exactly what. Yep.
You just took like 300 damage. That's just like a tango and a half. It's not bad, by the way, when you feel this. Why is it like this? Like, why do you not feel comfortable going up? Obviously, it's the lane equilibrium, but where's your support?
Yeah, he was, like, pulling us.
Okay, so my question, this isn't something I talk about too often, actually. Right now, you don't feel comfortable. Okay, so we've now, rewinded in time, and you realize you can't contest any of these creeps, right? Weaver's going to get them. You just got to let him have them, okay? What is an option you could do? Like, what is something you could spend your time doing if your support's pulling like this? Where's Jakiro?
He's over on the left somewhere.
Okay. So what could you do for your Oracle?
I was just thinking like I could basically go to my Oracle, like either attack Jakiro given vision or pull through, like double pull the wave or just help CS over there, type stuff like that.
Okay, so let's admit here that these creeps, the enemy creeps right here, they're gonna push. Something I like to mention is that unless you have like 8 creeps here, or like 6 creeps of your own. So let's look at the next waves, right? So I'm just being clear what I mean. This wave over here and this wave right here, where do they naturally meet? Like where, if nothing happens, all the other...
In front of my tier 1.
They meet like right here, right?
Yeah.
So which creep wave is going to get here first?
Which creep was going to get there first? Their lane's pushing into me. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that if these creeps were killing each other, right, like the ones on our screen, and they're just sitting here killing each other, but they're not dead, right? Like, say his are gonna get here first, right? So unless the wave is shoving into their tower, like 6 creeps or whatever, you know, you may have to give up 1 or 2 creeps, but this, by the time this wave gets there, is gonna push into you. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So usually when I recognize this situation, I'm just like, okay, I concede these 2 creeps I'm going to miss or whatever. And everything you just said is a great option. If you walk over here, this is a 2v1, and you're level 2, and this is a level 1 Jakiro. This guy can get fucked. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he can actually, you may even be able to force the Weaver over, you know, where he's missing creeps here instead of whatever. But, like, just how I told you what you can't do here, what does Weaver want to do?
Just CS.
He just wants to CS. So that's like, okay, this is just how I've come to learn my decision making in lane, right? What can I do? Nothing. Okay, what does he want to do? What is he gonna do? He's just gonna sit here CSing. Okay, so what does that mean for me? That means I have a guaranteed 2-for-1 over here. And if it's not a 2-for-1, it's because Weaver is inconveniencing himself from free creeps to go help, right? And if you're over here fighting Jakiro and you just see Weaver Sakuchi through this wave, you just back off, right? Like, you just... You're like, thank you for pushing it into me. You're probably missing 1 or 2 creeps. Like, that's something a 2K player could easily make that mistake, right? That Weaver could easily, like, instead of getting free creeps, try to aggress on you, right? Like, he could easily do that. The point is, though, that I love to go just help my support over here. And worst case scenario, like you said, you're just farming some small creeps. Say you miss like 2 creeps here and you get 2 small creeps here. Your net loss is like 20 gold or something. You know, it's like whatever. It's not ideal, but it's not that bad. You know, it's like missing 1 CS kind of. You know, like half a CS. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not gonna that extra tango you just spent in regen costs more than the half CS or whatever. So instead, your Oracle's fighting a 1v1 while you're being useless, you know, over here.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's... So, I like to create as many 2v1s as possible. Anytime the opponent's support has to go towards my support, I like to capitalize on it. Especially when it's against an offlaner that I can kind of just reactionarily run away. You know, I'm like... It's not like I want to fight Weaver, but I don't mind... If I just see him coming, I'll just walk away. You know, there's no, like, immediate threat of stunning me or anything like that. Okay, so now that this happened, we are level 3. He's level 2. I think he just got level 3. Never mind. So we're spamming him. Okay.
Yeah, this is again where a lot of times when I'm laning, I like intuitively feel, just based on how they're playing, I feel a little stronger than them based on like Weaver doesn't have much regen, we're spamming him, but I don't know how to like take advantage of that like in a big sense. Like we killed him once, but I feel like we don't dominate the lane anymore.
Okay. I mean,
whereas if like I feel like if you were in this lane, you would be 2-3 levels ahead of him at like 8 minutes, and I don't understand like how to navigate the lane there sometimes.
Okay.
Or ever, really.
Yeah, I'm kind of just watching right now. 1 sec. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Let me just watch for a bit. See what you do.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I will highlight this skill again because it is hard, but it's something for people to think about because they probably don't. How do I highlight this? Simply put, try to recognize situations where 2 creeps are going to die at the same time. It's just that simple.
Okay.
So what I mean here is this melee creep is getting pelted by the tower, and the range creep is getting hit by your range creep as well as a melee creep. So what ends up happening, both these creeps die at the same time. And then you can't CS both of them. You see that?
Okay. Yep.
So in that case, beaming him's bad.
Right.
Because you should be beaming a creep
like
rather
beam the range or
yeah,
something.
Beaming a range. Every hero has a potentially different way to deal with this. You know, PA, you can right-click one, dagger the other. On Jug, you probably have to, like, right-click the guy, like, right-click one of the creeps down. You know, you have to actually just right-click one of the creeps twice real quick or whatever. I've noticed this happen a couple times in this lane, and you kind of just let it happen. Almost all of my lane behavior that I tell people about, like, every high-level player, it's very, you can see how heavily dictated it is by what the creeps' health are, right? Like, if there's a low creep, they're going to behave a certain way. If there's 2 low creeps, they're going to behave a certain way. It's like, if I'm against a Mars or a Weaver, and 2 of my own creeps are low, what am I expecting?
Yeah, Mars is gonna use the shield crash.
Yeah,
or whatever,
and Weaver's gonna use his dub,
Shikuchi.
right? Like,
Yep.
I'm gonna play around those things, right? Like, that's what they're gonna do. And it's like, if I'm against, say, the offlaner, or okay, say, like, it's easier to say it from the offlaner's perspective because, like, I'll think about it from your hero's perspective. Say I'm an offlaner against Terrorblade. You know, what's his option for killing 2 creeps that are dying at the same time?
I would say he probably has to, like you said, preemptively see that and start attacking one.
Okay.
Like almost auto-attacking one.
So like, as an offlaner,
both.
oftentimes, if I can fuck with him a bit, I'll try to make 2 creeps die at the same time. Like, I'll try to make that happen, because that hero has nothing to do about it if I make it happen, right? Like, what I mean is that, like, maybe my range creep's dying, and maybe one of my melee creeps is also dying, and, like, if my melee creep's at, like, a 3rd health and my range creep's at half, I'll aggro my own creeps, I'll aggro the creeps away from my range, and then if he goes for that melee creep, I'll attack my own range creep down. If he runs for my range creep, I'll go deny the melee creep. You know what I mean? Like, I'm making him choose. So I'm giving you both perspectives on this. All I'm telling you is this idea of having multiple creeps die at the same time can be heavily capitalized on or punished from either side. And if you're the carry, usually you're trying to avoid it happening. Like, usually. It's just something to think about, because I see a lot of people make this mistake where they just kind of miss CS, and it requires foresight, and it's something that you're not going to gain this skill instantly. But if I tell you now, my hope is that you'll start paying attention for times where there's like a clue that 2 creeps are going to die at the same time, and you can try to prevent that from happening somehow. It's kind of like, I'm giving you the problem, now find your own creative solution with whatever hero you're playing. Almost every hero has some solution, right?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and so just something to think about. I think I've seen you miss like 3 or 4 CS in this manner. Sometimes it can be creep aggro. Like, sometimes you can drag creeps in a certain way where, like, maybe you're dragging them out of tower range. Maybe you're dragging the one that's getting hit so that it's no longer getting hit by 4 creeps, it's only getting hit by 3. Like, if you drag a melee creep that's getting hit by all these, and you drag it this way, or sorry, if you drag the melee creep right in front of you and you drag it down, maybe it'll be getting hit by 2 creeps instead of 4. So that'll make it die slower, you know? There's all types of little things you can do. I'm just giving you a heads up. Okay, so I'm just noticing, like, in a pretty well-farmed lane, you have 23 or 24 CS at 545. So it's not terrible, but it just could be better. And this lane, awkwardly enough, that is actually the mechanic that was causing you a lot of CS. Okay, so let's see.
Even here, like, just questioning, like, I never really know this answer very often in Dota. If, like, Jakiro's running up, I feel like I'm giving him, like, a lot of respect. If I just, like, run up and start manning up on Jakiro when he runs up like that, like, can I, essentially, with Oracle standing there, kind of start bullying them out of the lane? Like, am I strong enough to do that, or am I gonna also be taking a lot of damage, kind of thing?
Okay.
So, like, Jakiro comes up, like, if I run up there instead of backing off, like, is that... Weaver's also low, I'm thinking, so...
Okay, so there was a point earlier in the lane where Jakiro was poking his head out of the trees, and you were, like, level 3.
Right.
And you had a creep... it's probably just better to rewind. Let me find it.
First blood. Thanks and have fun.
Might have been earlier. Right here. So this is... It's a weird subject, man. Sorry, give me a second here. So you asked me, right now, do you feel comfortable, like, manning up on this Jakiro right now, like, at this very moment that I paused on?
I feel like because I don't have much regen, I don't feel, like, super, super comfortable, but I see now that it's slowed down. If I man up on him, he's probably going to aggro all 4 of my creeps, whereas I will only aggro 2. Like, I probably won't get the ranged on me. So I feel like it would be a good trade, but I would rather have, like, a salve.
My answer would probably be based on your own regen. I wouldn't want to trade here. But yes,
Okay.
If you had a salve, I'd much strongly more consider trading here. The point would be that I'm looking at your regen, and I would say to you that you don't really want to trade casually. Luna's kind of a weird hero because you have beam, but your right-click range is pretty bad. So unless the other guy's forced to run away, right-click trading usually doesn't benefit you. Like, just because your range and shit is just not good.
So if you're like a Wraith King, do you potentially stun him here? And
yeah. So but this is what I was going to get at here. So I'm identifying to myself that I don't really want to trade. So if I don't want to trade at this moment, like, unless I'm getting very favorable trades, what am I doing behavior-wise? Am I, like, trying to avoid the Jakiro? Am I, like, trying to confront him? You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to avoid him, right? And I'm asking myself this, like, at all times. Am I avoiding the opponent's support? Am I looking to threaten this guy? What am I looking to do, okay? Like, at every stage in the lane, I ask myself what my relationship to this opponent's support is. And I did this in a recent coaching session with a Lich. He was a 5.3k 5-position player, where I talked to him about this concept outside of the lane, meaning that he was a 5-position, and I talked to him about... There's one time that he just, like, walked up to a 4-position Skye and then just died. And I was like, okay, dude, let's talk about this. If you walk into the Skye, what's going to happen? And he's like, we're going to throw abilities on each other, etc. And I'm like, so what happens if he throws his concussive shot on you and Mars walks over? And he's like, I'm going to die. And I'm like, okay. So right. Did I have to be a genius to point that out to you? And he's like, no. So I'm like, all you had to do was envision, once me and this guy run into each other at this spot, what happens, okay? And so as a carry, you can take the same approach, but it's a tad different because obviously you're in lane. So what I like to think at all times is, what's my status? Like, am I trying to trade with these guys? Am I trying to be more passive, get my levels? Am I trying to get more items? Like, when do I want to trade? Is it a specific level that I need that is like a power spike for me? And so what I'm saying is, it isn't perfect. Like, you're not going to understand timings perfectly, right? My goal is for you to start thinking about them and when it feels good. Overall, your instinct has been good, okay? So now I'm going to capitalize. So because your instincts seems pretty good, like the way you say, like, I feel like this is bad, you're right every time so far. So when you've said this, you're like, I should be aggressive. You've been right so far. So let's talk about it, hopefully in a way that can help. So when I'm thinking about this Jakiro, right, and I'm like, I don't really want to trade with this guy, especially when Weaver's anywhere within range. Right here, I aggro away defensively. Great. Where did Jakiro just go?
To the left, it looked like.
So, what can I do again right now?
Move to the right.
Okay, and do what with the creeps?
Creep aggro again.
Creep aggro again, what direction?
I would say like southeast.
Yeah,
basically.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you should do. So I noticed this earlier, but I didn't really know how to tell you about it. So it's like, that's why I went back to this moment. So it's like, I know I don't want to trade with this Jakiro. I just watched him walk to the left, right? So if I don't want to trade with him, I'm going to instantly position myself as far to the right as I possibly can, and I'm going to drag creeps to the right, away, like down to the right, because that's as far away from where he is as possible. First off, that's going to prevent him from potentially denying a creep, and second off, if he wants to walk in and dual breath, maybe he'll actually be out of position at that point. You know, maybe he'll have to walk 300 units farther towards you, which at that point could easily be out of position, and then you could trade with them. So the basic level is like, am I being passive or am I being aggressive? At the next level of this like decision tree is, at what is that exact fucking line that if he crosses it, I'm gonna be aggressive now. So if you can creep aggro creeps and then force him to cross that line, you know, suddenly, you know, you can punish people who are being out of position. Creep aggro will force supports as well in your bracket to be dumbasses, okay? Like, they will do stupid shit. Like, they do it in my bracket. Like, these rank 400s, when they're trying to lane against, like, top 100 players, they just Papega, because they're not used to, like, the level of lane mechanics that a rank 400 does. So if I can get your lane mechanics, or a rank 50 or whatever it is, if I can get your lane mechanics to, like, 4K, you know, your 2K opponents are just going to be, like, Papegaing all over the place because they're not used to seeing whatever you're doing to them. So,
right.
I just want you to think about this. So you could have been passive and creep aggroed away here. Overall, your instinct has been good, rehashing that. So I'm telling you, now that you have this instinct, I'm hoping to give you a thought process that can capitalize on how you feel about the lane. So right now, like, if you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to play passive, notice how you have to, like, walk up and go for this creep. Maybe he almost got that deny. Maybe they could have nuked you there. Like, you kind of put yourself in this exposed spot there. Even if they didn't punish you, it was not nearly as good as dragging the creep wave back. Okay. So right here, you gave me this instinct that you should be strong against this Jakiro, right? That's what you told me?
Well, I just said that, like, I'm very bad at identifying when I am strong in lane and, like, capitalizing on it.
Okay.
So I'm just, like, I'm seeing that I'm level 6, like, he's level 4. I have some, like, raindrops to block a Weaver W or something. Like, I'm just asking, like, if I were to go up and fight right now, do you think it would turn out okay, I guess? Like, because I'm very bad at identifying this. Like, okay, now I can be aggressive. Like, I'm always kind of passive, just looking to get my farms kind of thing.
Well, my answer would be, last time I told you, if Jakiro walks out of these trees, what would you want to do when you were level 3 and he was level 2? Like, earlier on. What would you want to do? What was your, like, what were you wanting to do? Were you wanting to trade?
Like, kind of like we said, based on my regen, it would be to back off.
Okay. So right now, if he walks out of these trees, what do you want to do?
I feel like the answer is the same, unfortunately, but I feel like based on, like,
in a stick.
Yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of creeps around.
Okay.
In this exact moment.
So my question is, if Jakiro walked out of the trees like this, and you're positioned on this brown tree right here in the middle of my screen, I know you can't see my mouse. What would happen to him if you were positioned right here?
He would die.
You would just die because you walk to the left in Eclipse, right? At the very least, you're going to force him to the right, in which case, when he's walking to the right, what are you doing?
Just chasing him and
You're just hitting him, right? You're just hitting him. So, do you notice how what I told you to do forces his hand to make a really awkward decision?
Yes.
Okay. So, simply put, okay? Like, I know it sounds simple, but every hero's different, okay? Every hero, I know. Luna, now that you've hit your power spike of level 6, are you strong near creeps or away from creeps?
Away.
Okay, so is it acceptable to let the Jakiro be between you and creeps?
No.
No. So if I'm looking to position aggressively, I want to meet him somewhere away from creeps. So that if he walks away from the creeps, I push R. If he walks towards the creeps, I'm hitting him the whole time.
Right.
The last thing I want to do is walk through a creep wave to attack him. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, that's not the situation I'm trying to set up here, because that's not something you can be aggressive on. So my answer to you is, it's not whether or not you're strong. Your first off, your guess should be, am I strong? But, like, the second guess should be, like, what does this hero do with that? You know, like, what, do I like creeps? Do I not like creeps? Do I want the lane equilibrium shoved into his tower? You know, if it's underneath my tower, is it, like, where is it that I can be aggressive, you know?
Right.
So somebody the other day, I'm just going to give you hopefully a way to approach lane matchups. Somebody told me, first and foremost, that Axe is good versus Spectre and Morph, okay? And so my question for you would be, when you look at Axe in lane, like you're laning against an off-lane Axe. I'm sure there's off-lane Axes in your bracket.
Yeah, for sure.
What type of playstyle is he playing at like 4 minutes plus?
They usually, like, if possible, they like just cut waves and just play like super aggressively, like.
And they dive you underneath your tower, right?
Yep.
So would you say Axe is good or bad versus Morphling and Spectre? And why?
It's a good question. I would say Spectre, he might be good just because, like, it's a melee hero that has to walk up to fight him and can potentially get spun or whatever. But maybe, I mean,
can you dive a Spectre and kill her underneath her own tower?
Yeah.
Really?
I feel like you could. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like you could. Like,
isn't Spectre one of the most like survivable underneath her own tower type of carries? She's like pretty damn tanky. She has dagger to go through the trees if absolutely need be.
Yeah, she is. I guess a
high base HP regen.
I guess if we're talking like solo, can an Axe do it? I would say no. But I'm just thinking about my games where you'll get dove and like people won't TP to help you and shit.
Would you rather be a Spectre or would you rather be a Drow or a Clinks or a PA? What would you rather be?
First act?
Yeah.
I feel like the answer might be wrong, but I feel like I would rather be Clinks or something.
You don't think Clinks gets dusted and dies?
Yeah,
if he's getting dove underneath his own tower? Like, what's his option?
That's true.
He just gets dusted and dies, right? Like, how does he actually avoid getting dove? On top of that, Spectre also has an ability that clears waves. Like, it's not a beautiful way, like an amazing way to do it, but she clears waves, right? Like, she does have a way to prevent the dives. While Clinks does not. I'm just pointing out all these things about how Axe plays. Okay. And I'm like, how are these heroes ever bad against Axe? Like, I dare you as an Axe to dive me if I'm Spectre. Like, I dare you. Like, go ahead. You're not going to kill me. Like, unless I'm way out of position, you're not going to kill me. You can dive me with 2 heroes. You're not going to kill me. I'm going to dagger through the fucking trees. Unless you have a Storm Spirit, full mana with an Arcane Rune, diving me underneath my tower. I'm not going to die to you. The point is that I think to myself, what do heroes do with their power? Okay? Like, what's the 6-minute mark going to look like? Axe, he's not going to dive me effectively if I'm a Spectre or a Morphling. Like, you can't dive a Morphling. He's just going to start strength morphing. Like, who cares? Like, he might even hit you back. Like, if you watch my game against Arteezy yesterday, it's literally like, I'll give you the replay ID to show you, like, the Axe just can't dive. Like, and if I did, it would just fail. I'm just going to copy paste this to you. You can see the dynamic of this lane matchup. If you like, it was a good game, very high ranked game. So the point being though is every hero's different. The only way you're ever gonna feel like you can actually be aggressive, because you're telling me you feel like there's times where you can be, and you just don't. You have to think about what situation is good for your hero, and that's all there is to it. If you feel like, okay, my question would be, have you ever heard me talk about this? Maybe I used to talk about it a long time ago. Maybe you've seen my coaching sessions. What's the number one indicator of who's quote-unquote stronger in lane?
I have not heard you talk about this, but I would say levels, maybe?
Okay, that's like a reasonable guess. This is if you've never heard me talk about it, you're never going to guess. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not your fault or anything. In my opinion, the number one indicator of who's stronger is if we both walk up, cast spells on each other, and hit creeps, who pushes the wave?
Okay.
Like, who pushes it? Like, and who feels good about pushing it, okay? Like, that's why heroes like Necro and Bristle are usually such scary heroes, because if they're just spamming their spells, that lane's getting shoved, right? It is getting shoved. Right. So, what I'm saying is, not necessarily is that hero, like, you can't deal with them, right? But what that's saying is unless you're killing them, the lane's getting shoved, right? Like, think about it. You're laning against Necro or Bristle. If you're not killing that guy, the lane's getting shoved into you, right?
Right.
Right. So when I say stronger in lane, what I'll say is if nothing out of the ordinary is going on, that hero is stronger in lane. So I'm just giving you an example where if I'm strong, sometimes all that strength means is I'm shoving the lane out and farming jungle. Sometimes that's what it means for me. Okay? Like that, like I just want to be very clear to you as a carry that like if I'm a troll against an offlaner I can't really kill, but he can't really kill me, I'm going to express my strength by just pushing out the lane and farming jungle. Because most offlaners cannot push the lane through a troll, right? Because if they try to hit the creeps, he's going to use his melee whirling axes, he's going to make all the creeps miss, he's going to make the enemy hero miss, and then the lane's going to push, right?
Okay.
That's an example of what I mean by if both heroes cast their spells, most matchups Troll does that well. So most of Troll's bad matchups are ones where that doesn't really work. Like Batrider and even Necro. Like those are type of matchups that I wouldn't ideally pick Troll because that shit doesn't work. Okay, so long rant. I don't know how to go into more detail than this, but I know it's an important subject to kind of have a small clue of when to be aggressive. And right now, all I'm seeing is like I can point out to you that you're like it's too late now. Right now, at this very moment in the game, it is too late. Maybe you could beam this guy, but then you have no mana. You know, it's like then you can't use your Eclipse later. If you had positioned yourself on the left here, what if he pops out of the trees and you just right-click him? And he's like, wait, what? And then he like turns to fight you and you've already right-clicked him twice, you know? And then you beam him. And then, it's like at that point, maybe he's taking an extra 200 damage that he didn't expect to take. And that's when he suddenly dies, right? But that required foresight and positioning ahead of time from you, which if it's not there, you're not going to get it. A lot of what people don't realize is being aggressive in lane is consistently being ready to be aggressive and eventually capitalizing on the opponent stepping out of their boundaries or whatever that they're allowed to be in. And if you're not already there to punish, then you can't punish.
Okay,
so,
that makes sense.
Yeah, so like your feeling of like, hey, I should have been aggressive here is correct. And then you're saying, I don't feel like it was possible. And with your positioning, it wasn't. Okay, so we end up using Eclipse. Don't get the kill. Let's see what you do. Okay. So, my question. Now that you don't have Eclipse, do you want to continue trading with these fucks?
No.
Okay.
Unless, like you said, unless it's, amazing trade for me.
Okay. So, if you don't want to trade with them, why are you here?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And there's an actual answer to it.
Yeah, it's I guess I don't know. Like I just killed them off the wave, and I feel like it's hard for them to come back into the lane. And
so
I feel like without
right now,
Blaze,
you don't want to trade with
slow.
them, right? You don't want to trade with them, right? And you just said to me, jungling is going to be slow. So why are you here?
I feel like it's a better alternative to being in the jungle.
Okay. So my question is, if you don't want to trade with them, but it's inefficient to go jungle, what should you do right now?
Pull?
Hit the fucking creeps, man!
Oh, okay.
Hit the fucking creeps!
Okay.
Because they're not here right now, right?
Gotcha.
All smart-ass comment aside. This is something I don't see at all, okay?
Right.
So, like, in your bracket, I don't see it at all. How did I come to this conclusion? I don't want to keep trading with these fucks. Even though I'm level 6 and Weaver's level 4, this isn't a good use of my time. Right? Like, I don't want to be fighting these guys. I just want to be hitting creeps, right? Like, that's what I want to be doing.
Right.
So, as long as they're here, I have to hit them, right? There's some lanes where you can kind of ignore them, but if they're there in this lane, you have to hit them, right? Like, or, like, fight them in some way. You have to fight them off of you. So, while they're gone, what should you do?
Yes, take the time to take free
Kill
CS.
as many creeps as you possibly can while they're gone.
Yep.
And this is an example of what I mean, right? Luna's not necessarily the type of hero that will shove creeps until she gets glaives. But you can still just right-click them. Like, if you watch professional players in lanes similar to this one, every time the opponent's gone for whatever reason, they know they're salving up, they know they're checking a bounty rune, they know they're regenning, whatever it is, they will hit the damn creeps instantly. Like, it is like, you can tell. You can see the sense of urgency on them. They're like, I know I don't want to be here. Like, it doesn't feel good to do what you're doing against this Weaver. Like, yeah, he's level 4, you're level 6, you've won the lane. But, like, at this point, because you can't kill them anymore, your Eclipse is down, you don't make use of your advantage by killing them, right? Like, that's not what you do. You make use of your advantage at this point by just getting more creeps than they do. That is really all there is to it. This is a lot of carries play. And the most annoying thing as an offlaner when I fall behind is having the carry just shove the lane into my tower and hit neutrals. And I can't do anything about it. So, What should your 7th level skill point be?
Glaives.
Cool.
Yep.
It's not going to be. Guarantee
Nope,
it.
it's not. It's not. You're right.
Okay.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So this is a lot of time accrued of you not hitting creeps that should just get hit. Even right now. Right-click some creeps. Like, just hit them. Okay? Like, all I'm saying is, every time you're not right-clicking a creep, that's making you stay in lane an extra quarter second, half second, full second, whatever. Okay? Like, it's making you stay in lane longer. I want you to think about that, okay? Every time you don't right-click a creep. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, even right now, when it's underneath your own tower. Say this creep's getting right-clicked, the one that's getting hit by the tower. Right now. What other creeps, I'll answer it for you because it's a weird question. I should just hit other creeps. Like, just hit them like, don't make yourself miss a CS, right? Like, don't, like, alter that the creep that's dying on your tower. Don't make it, like, harder to kill. Go ahead and start right-clicking the one that's already low, or right-click the one that's full health. But every right-click I dish out is an extra quarter second, half second that I don't have to be in lane. You're seeing this, right?
And just to be clear, like, in my mind, I don't have a lot of sustain for jungling right now or something, so would you push the wave and then maybe just pull it yourself or something?
I would fucking hit this neutral, right?
That centaur?
That centaur that you ran into at 820.
Yeah, okay.
So imagine, right now, if you had an extra 3 seconds between now and when they get to you.
Right.
What would you do?
Just kill that and
I would just kill it.
Yep.
That's the only way I can express to you the impact of you not clicking creeps, so, originally right here. Because that extra 3 seconds that I told you would have by dishing out 12 right clicks over the course of the last 2 creep waves would give you time to kill this creep before they come contest you. And you're full health with a headdress, or with a ring of regen. By all means, if you feel the need to, like, kite it back or whatever, would you kite it upwards or would you kite it left?
Left.
Okay, cool. That's just to avoid them, obviously, for people in chat who don't understand. So, point is, a lot of people don't realize the time they're just chucking away into the dumpster. Like, it's not something that's always a mistake. Like, meaning it doesn't look like a misclick. It doesn't look like, you can't easily see the mistake. That's like the difficulty of Dota, right? Not everything that is a mistake is just clearly a mistake. 1 second. I need to take a drink of water. Okay, so, yeah, just imagine yourself with an extra 3 seconds right here. Instead of like 2 seconds to kill that creep, you'd have 5, which is plenty. You already missed out on 1 big creep now. You're denying the wave back. Like, right now, if you want to deny some creeps too, that's okay. Okay, I want to be very clear. I don't want you to tell you the only solution is to hit creeps forward. That's something you'll have to get a feel for. My point is that all this time that you're spending, like, walking back and forth not hitting shit is just bad, right? Like, you just need to hit shit. And, like, if you want to throw some denies in there too, you're effectively denying him a little bit. And usually I only do that if I feel like I have the luxury to still push the wave with denies. Like, I can push the wave out and get denies. Because if I'm hitting creeps forward and denying my own creep, how is, like, you may say, BSJ, that's not pushing the wave at all. How is that actually benefiting me? If I'm pushing the wave with right clicks, but then also right click denying my own creep. How is
You're
that
essentially, like, giving him nothing and taking everything for yourself.
Yeah, I'm also just killing off both waves as fast as I possibly can. And so, like, if I'm thinking my only obligation is to get creeps, Meaning, like, if I stay in lane, maybe I'm at threat, maybe I'm not strong enough to deny him, then I'm just going to hit creeps and get the fuck out. But if I feel really strong, right, like where I can just right-click forward and then deny my own creeps too, like you said, you're just getting everything. You're just going to get everything. And you're taking the time in lane that could then be used elsewhere, like after you kill the wave. You're just eliminating as much time as you have to in lane. Like, you're like, okay, instead of spending 8 seconds on this creep wave, I'll spend 5. You know, like, that's where this extra bit of efficiency comes from. That's why when people watch streams and there's like, how do you have so much farm? And it's like all of these little micro things are just like compounding on one another over the course of 20 minutes, right? And I get myself effectively like an extra 2 minutes of farm compared to, like, you know, a low-ranked player. Okay, so feel free to watch like another replay on your own and see how many times, like, you should watch a game to yourself. Like, you could even watch the same game back past like the 6-minute mark. This is like once you've accrued a lead, right? This is what I mean. And you should ask yourself, how many times, where could I have clicked creeps? Like, where could I have just hit them? Okay? And then, like, that's something you can look for in a couple games. And as long as you're looking out for it, what will initially happen probably is you'll say, or you'll, like, in-game, you'll catch yourself where you're like, oh, I should hit creeps there. And then you'll start doing it, but maybe a bit late. And the goal is to get you to, like, keep catching yourself. Like, just keep realizing you were supposed to do that, and then eventually you won't be able to ignore it, and you'll always do it. That's the goal.
Okay, makes
Notice
sense.
right now what your game plan is, right? You're pushing out the wave, you're stacking a small camp, you're walking up and farming. This is an example where, yes, I understand max beam is nice, but it doesn't fit what you're doing, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
You're just walking up and hitting creeps, so. Same thing here. Like, I just want to walk up, hit these creeps, and walk away. I know I have a Helm Dom now, and at this point, I would consider just either, like, if I, okay. So at this point, I said in the draft that you have Helm Dom, right? Like, you're ready to potentially do something.
Right.
But you don't even have boots yet. So the reason why I mentioned, like, maxing out glaives after 3 points beam is I'm looking at this like, okay, we're in farm mode, and our goal is to capitalize on that timing between PA and PL, right? Like where I said PL's defusal, PA's like maybe 2 items, maybe a Deso, whatever. So do you feel like with just a Helm Dom, you're strong enough to walk up to towers and hit them?
No.
Okay, what do you probably need? I'm just asking you, like, in your best guess, what do you need?
I would say what I would really want would be like some move speed if they respond, and some attack speed.
Okay, so treads.
Yep.
Okay. It's fine if you say it that way, but
if I had an extra level in glaives instead of the beam, I think it'd be really nice too.
Okay, yeah. So you're basically telling me you want treads. So, and that's fine. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Like, if you get treads plus Helm Dom, you'll feel much stronger to get the towers. So my point is, I mentioned this timing to you about them, that they don't want to fight you, and I mentioned what your timing is. So at like that 8-minute mark, what's the most important thing now that you've accrued a lead? Like at 8 minutes into the game, you've accrued a lead in your lane. Are you looking to kill them? Are you looking to shut down the offlaner?
No, I'm just looking to farm.
You're looking to accelerate your game as quickly as possible, right? Like,
Right.
Every game's a bit different. Sometimes it's like good to just focus on shutting down the offlaner. As a safe laner, there are just certain matchups where if I let the offlaner get 6 or whatever, I'll have to leave lane. So it's actually like inefficient for me to let him get 6, even if it means I can get more farm in the short term, because in the long term I'll get less farm. So I'll prioritize my level differential between me and him, meaning I'll make sure I'm getting as many denies as possible while not as much focused on the big camp. Like, maybe I'll still try to kill it, but my first and foremost priority is to shut him down. But against Weaver, whatever. Like, honestly, let him have farm. You're going to shove the lane out. He can't do anything to you. Kind of hero. Whenever I'm against, like, 4-position Clinks, 3-position Bristleback, these heroes with no stuns, I just say, okay, now that I've accrued a lead, I'm going to hit some creeps. Like, that's all I'm going to be like, they can't stun me, so I'm just going to hit some creeps, and if they try to go on me, I'll walk away, like, whatever.
Okay.
But against like heroes like Beastmaster, maybe I'll be more inclined to shut them down. You know, Beastmaster's Mars. You know, if it's possible, I'd be more inclined to shut those heroes down because the minute they get 6, it might actually slow my farm down. You know, because I have to be scared of them. So, point being though is because our timings are slowed down, the window between punishing the PA and PL's timings and when you can push is much lower, very much smaller. So let's see. Obviously not ideal, but you do use an Eclipse. You get a kill on a support, and I think my overall emphasis is that you're a Luna with a good game. I had a similar either replay or coaching session about this, and you have 69 CS. Nice. You have 69 CS at 13 minutes, right? Like
yep.
That's something where it tells you your priorities are just not in check, right? I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, how many times could I have hit creeps rather than these enemy heroes? Treat these enemy heroes as a distraction, okay? What is their function in regards to you? What are they stopping you from doing, or like what is their impact on your game? So in certain games, I'd say the majority of carry games, it actually sounds like this. But you're trying to hit creeps, and what is their involvement with that?
You from doing that and threatening you, basically.
So when do I worry about killing them?
I worry about killing them. I'm not sure.
If they're getting in my fucking way.
Okay.
If they're not stopping me from killing creeps, I don't really care. Like, I really don't. Like, the majority of carry players, I think, would agree. If they're not stopping me from killing creeps, I don't care. If they bring 2 heroes to my lane and they're like shoving my tower and they're like trying to dive me, that's stopping me from hitting creeps.
Right.
I might want to kill them, or I might want to leave. You know, like at that point, I have to make a decision. But
well, like at this point, would you say it would be fine and like good to just leave the lane, like pretty much leave the lane and just go farm the jungle?
So I just asked you, is Helmdom enough to kill towers?
Right.
And what'd you say?
I said no.
Okay. And then I said, what did you need to hit towers?
Treads.
Okay. So once you get Treads Helmdom, what's your thought?
Like at this point in the game, maybe rotate top and take the tower with my team.
So what's your question to me? Why am I coaching you?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is like once I take that tower top, even let's say, it's like at what point, and I guess like in general, at what point on a carry do you say, okay, based on the fact that they're contesting me in lane, it's less efficient for me to be in lane than it is just to leave kind of thing and safely farm jungle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think the biggest issue. Okay, I'm just gonna go over as much as I can. This session's obviously been a much more theoretical one than a lot of them. And that's fine. You kind of said you wanted to talk about that. So
yeah, for sure.
Okay. So are there some games on Luna that I would just take the time right now to just hit Ancients? Is that something I would potentially do on Luna?
So yeah.
Okay. So, could you give me a description of what kind of game that would be? Like, just try your best to give me a description of the type of game that you would go hit Ancients right now. Because somebody in chat even mentioned they'd go hit Ancients right now.
Sure. I think the type of game that maybe I would go hit Ancients right now would be like maybe my off lane had a really rough game or something, and someone's in the lane that can defend my push. Like maybe their carry's still there, maybe they rotated and the carry came bottom or something and is stronger than me, so I can't really farm lane and their off laner is defending top or something like that, where I just can't push a lane. And I can't really be in a lane without kill threat on me, so I don't want to be there.
Okay. That's reasonable. Is there any other description you can give, or is that it? It's fine if it's it.
I'm trying to think here. Maybe if we were like behind and my map was like a little restricted, so I can't easily like go in a lane farm top. I don't know, something like that.
So you're basically talking about you're scared to push. That's basically what your reasoning is.
Yeah.
My question is, if that carry was an Ursa and the opponent mid was a Death Prophet, would you want to push into them?
No.
Why?
I feel like I just can't do anything. I'll just die. Like they're both
Okay.
super strong and tanky.
And if both teams are farming, who benefits from that?
Me.
If you're against Death Prophet Ursa. So you're against
Right,
PAPL. If both teams are farming, who benefits from that?
Right, them.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Okay, I see what
for
you're
the
saying.
noob in chat, are you allowed to farm ancients here? No, you're not. Because you can't just let nothing happen in this game, right? Like, you just can't. If there goes another 5 minutes by where both teams are hitting creeps, you're going to lose. Like, you're actually just going to lose. So, every game I ask myself, like, when people say BSJ, do you go Battle Fury or do I go Diffusal? Simply put, if both teams are hitting creeps, who's winning? It's not that hard. Like, it really isn't, actually. You know, it's like, all things aside. It's not that hard, though. It's really not that hard. I
And
ask
if you
myself,
don't know, you're obviously just taking a guess. And,
yeah,
and seeing how it turns
absolutely.
out.
You make a fucking guess, right? Like, you
Okay.
absolutely make a guess. Like, that is exactly. That is the best approach I got. But I have to believe you don't feel comfortable trading farm with a PAPL, right? Like, I don't think you feel comfortable with that.
No.
Right? So, some games it's really close, right? Even I will make this mistake, plenty. Like, in my games, I'm still learning. This is a process that, like, doesn't end, right? The knowledge of this kind of shit doesn't end, right? That's the beauty of Dota. It's there's always a new situation. There's always really close calls where one decision is just so slightly better than the other, and if the other team's making the slight better decision all the time, you're just gonna lose, right?
Okay.
My point being here is that I look at their draft at the very start, and I say, okay, clearly their mid game's pretty weak. They have a lot of weight on this Weaver's shoulders. We have to, if he isn't carrying the game, like, meaning if he's not snowballing, they should just lose everything. Like, they should lose everything. They can't do anything. They have PAPL. They can't do shit. Okay, so my point being is, I recognize to myself at what point I can push. I give myself the best guess, okay? Sometimes you'll be wrong. Maybe you needed another item. But based on the deadline and all that shit, what tower are we taking? 80% of games.
Or, like, off lane.
Yeah, off lane, their safe lane tower, right? After that tower, what is the next tower to die?
Mid?
Or?
I don't know. Is it tier 2 top?
Yeah, it's mid or tier 2
Okay.
top.
Okay.
So, when do I rotate mid after I take tier 1 top?
Maybe if, like, let's say the game was a little bit different here. Maybe at 15, like, with a catapult.
Okay,
wave.
here's how I look at Dota, okay? I like hearing your thought, because it's interesting. So, if I'm going to leave this lane to go push top, the one you're in right now, what do
Right.
I want to do first?
Probably just push the wave out.
Okay, cool. That is absolutely correct. So, I would hopefully like to push the wave out. This is ideal shit, right?
Right.
So I'm going to go push the wave out, and now that the wave's pushed out, I can leave, right? That means there's no obligation for me to be here anymore. One of them is going to respond. It's going to set up a favorable push top, all these reasons. So, when do I go mid? When I finally feel strong enough to have the lane consistently shoved into their tier 2.
Okay.
Does that not make sense? Because what does that do? It naturally sets you up to just walk mid, right?
Right.
It doesn't need to be some fancy rotation with a smoke. It can literally just be you consistently pushing top. Sometimes there's going to be heroes that, like, fight you back, and the farthest you can go top is to, like, the big camp. To like, right here. Like, say you take the tier 1, and the lane's, like, right over here. You can't even farm it because of whatever heroes they have. Like, they're just scary, right? So you'll be stuck here, and here, and here, and here, right? Like, that's where you'll be stuck. But
Right.
as you accrue more levels, more items, suddenly that's going to slowly extend itself to, like, over here. And then once you can consistently shove it into their tier 2, just walk to here.
And you think that's much better than going mid to their mid?
If you're going to go to their mid in any other way, it has to be a gank.
Okay.
Like, it can't just be casual. So, like,
Okay.
you have to, like, be making a 4-man move on the mid, which is fine. But I'm saying, like,
You can't just like group 2 heroes mid at your tier 1 and just walk
Yeah,
over the
don't just
river.
casually walk at the mid tower, right? Like,
Okay.
if you're strong enough to casually walk at the mid tower, you should be strong enough to casually push this into their tier 2. In which case, you're then doing what I told you to do. You know?
Right.
So, like, the only exception would be is just if you're really scared. Say, like, you're under a lot of duress where, like, you feel like you can only farm this area. If the opponent shows 4 heroes bottom, what should you do?
Go top. And
Okay,
shove.
sorry, you've already taken this tier 1. You're here because you're scared, and they show 4 heroes here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could just walk mid.
You could just walk at the mid tower, right?
Right.
Like, that's when you just walk at the mid tower. Okay, like, that's
Okay.
an example where, if the opponent is stronger than me, and I'm playing up here, I'm simply saying to myself, okay, if we're really far behind, my first tower is going to be this one. If I've already taken this tower, my next tower is going to be this one or this one.
Okay.
And wherever I'm forced to farm, okay, like wherever it is, like if I'm strong enough to farm all the way up here, if I'm only strong enough to farm here, if the opponent groups up and takes an objective, or like groups up to take a tower, or like 4-man ganks somebody on my team bottom, what tower am I going to?
Just the opposite one.
The one that's closest to me. So like if I
okay.
feel safe farming here, which one is that?
Yeah, mid tier 1.
If I feel safe farming here, which one is that?
Right. The tier 2.
It's the
top.
tier 2. It's that simple, right? Like, I'm just walking at a tower that's close to me. It's not that,
Okay.
but it's like all determined by how safe I feel. So it's
Okay.
like, if you feel safe enough to farm here and then you just die randomly, what did you learn?
Yeah, you're not safe.
You should probably back it up to here and here.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Like, hopefully you're kind of close, you know? Like, meaning you're not just so far off, like, your positioning is, like, terrible. You know? The goal is that the line that you draw for yourself should kind of be close. Like,
Right.
at least hopefully. But sometimes you can be really far off, myself included. So, at this stage in the game, the only reason we stay in lane is why? It's the same
farm
reason as
creeps.
8 minutes in. Say it again, sorry?
To hit creeps.
To hit creeps. So if we
Yep.
need to go do stuff, what do we need to do?
Hit creeps right here. Push
Hit
the
him
lane
as
out,
hard
and-
hit him as hard and fast
Yeah.
as possible, right?
Just auto
So
attacking,
second
yep.
off, your game plans to hit creeps. What's wrong with this?
Right. It doesn't help at all for hitting creeps.
Okay, so am I telling you to not take the cast range talent?
No, but like in this game with my play style in the game, it's probably not good.
Well, no, my question is this. Most people actually take the cast range talent. It is usually better, okay? So, do I have to level my talent at 10?
No.
No.
I see what you're saying. No.
So, can I just go, glaive? And then level cast range talent at like 13 or 14? Because it's a nice
Right.
talent, but it doesn't help me right now, right? So that's an example where sometimes people delay their talents because it's like, hey, it's a nice talent, but doesn't really, like, at this current moment, doesn't do anything. So
That makes
just
sense.
think about that, right? Just think about, it's at a very basic level for you guys. I know it's not meant to be insulting by saying very basic. Like, whenever you're playing a hero, this is what I'm trying to predicate a lot of my guides on too, like when I made the Jug Guide and shit. Just think to yourself what your ability does. Like, it sounds so simple, but people clearly don't think about it. It's like, am I farming right now? If the answer is yes, what ability farms? If I'm fighting, what ability fights? It's like when I was talking about Jug, I'm like, if I'm maxing crit, I'm probably farming. If I'm maxing healing ward, I'm probably fighting. It's like, or pushing towers, because that's what those abilities do. So it's kind of like, you're in farm mode, clearly. Even if you want to walk to towers, you still need to clear creep waves to get there, right? Like, so at this point, clearing creep waves as fast as possible is very important.
See, I like you saying it's basic, like, because a lot of times when you play Dota, I feel like your mind is thinking about like 1,000 different things. So
Yeah, sometimes
being
you
able
overcomplicate
to
it.
isolate, yeah, and think about, oh, this is basic, and this is the basic stuff I need to keep in mind while playing actually helps a lot. So
Okay, so your mistake at this current moment is not just walking at buildings. And it's almost never this tower, okay? Do you have an idea of a general time frame, that this tower is going to die to? As a hero like Luna, a squishy hero.
I do not actually.
It's either dying 5 to 8 minutes in or never.
Okay.
Like that's just how it works. Because at this point in the
Okay.
game, is your hero ever strong enough to survive a gank?
No.
No, the enemy team just has too many levels, right? Like they have the ability to kill you. The only reason you can ever take this tower super early is you get like a ridiculously good start, like a 6-minute helm dom, and the opponent's supports are level 3.
Right.
And you're like, okay, cool, kill the building. You know.
Okay.
On almost every carry, this tower is either dying at 5 to 8 minutes or not. Like that's really. Let's be clear, Dota is not that simple. There are exceptions, but that is like the majority of games. If you watch, it's the majority of games. This tower is either dead super early or alive at 20 minutes. That's just kind of how.
Why is it so hard to take that later? Like you said, it's just easy to rotate on and like.
So what tower are you naturally taking, right? As Dire. Sorry.
The bottoms, the safe lane.
This
for
one,
Radiant.
right? So after they take that, how does your team get here?
You just have to like walk a super long distance, pretty much.
And by the time you've gotten there, the enemy team could have pushed out both waves and then just TP'd. And
Right.
like you're losing all this shit, right? Like all these lanes are getting pushed. And like all the sheer amount of time it takes you to get there, it's just super fucking awkward. Especially as Radiant, because at 15 minutes in, what else could you be playing around that's way better than a tier 1?
Rope?
Yeah, and Roche is all the way over here.
Right. Okay.
So it's like as Dire, sometimes it just kind of works out that you're like pushing Roche or whatever, or like you're pressuring to get Roche, and then you end up just pushing this tower. A lot of times, if I'm ever taking this tower when I'm Dire, it's because I'm playing like right here and here, and I'm like cutting this wave because I don't want to go all the way over here.
So you just naturally.
And I can just like backdoor this tier 1. Like
Okay.
if I'm a hero that can backdoor this tier 1, I'll just like walk behind it and kill it, right? Like
Okay.
But if I'm like a Ursa, I'm not hitting this tower, right? I'm
Right.
talking like the troll warlords and jugs and clinks maybe. So point is, yeah, that's how I'm looking at the game. And this whole process of like shoving these towers, it needs to happen quick, right? Because this window, PL's going no treads even, he's rushing that diffusal. Your window of opportunity is shrinking, right? Like it's getting smaller and smaller. PA is super poor. Like look at this shit, dude. This guy, does this guy ever want to fight you? Can he ever fight you? No. And look at their lane shove compared to your hero. Like, look at their carries and how they clear creeps compared to yours. What would you compare that? Like, what's it looking like?
They basically just walk up and like auto attack the creeps all the way down for the most part.
If they're 100% on clearing creeps, what's your rate of clearing creeps?
They're 100%.
Like, I'm saying, like, if you were to divide or multiply how fast you do it.
Oh, okay, I got it. I would say Luna, I don't know, you're like a 10 or something almost.
You're like 1,000%. Or like, maybe like 500%.
You know, like 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10.
Yeah. Luna's like a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
There you go. That's
right.
fine. Yeah. Luna's a 10. PA's like a 3 or 4. 3, probably.
PL's maybe like a 4.
Yeah, PL's definitely way better than
5.
PA. I'd actually put PA at like a 2. PL's like a 5 or a 6. Like, okay. And PL is one of those heroes that, like, as he gets like 1 or 2 items, that accelerates real quick. You know, once he gets like Diffusal Manta, that skyrockets. So, but the point is that at this stage in the game, you're like a 10, and them together, added together, is a 10. You know, between the PA Weaver and PL. So the way you win at this stage in the game is by pressuring towers as early as you can, and then just shoving the fuck out of creep waves and making decisions based on the fact that all your creep waves are pushed in and theirs aren't, right? Like, their heroes can't push creep waves nearly as fast as yours. And all of your skill build, item build at this point should be how fast can I clear creeps. So yes, you show up top here, but it was kind of prompted by a gank by the opponent rather than you saying, I can just walk at this, you know? So just something to think about there. You see them all bottom. This gets shoved, brother. Right here. Right.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Dude, there's a
attack.
wave literally right there. Right there.
Right. I should stay. I should stay top.
Kill this fucking wave. You see them all bottom, right? They also TP. They're also weak as fuck. Is PA coming to your lane? Is PL single-handedly coming to your lane? Maybe PL's a tad
honestly,
scared,
this is just like... This is just like... Literally like... lack of thought, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
it's just like,
I believe it.
I feel scared being in their jungle. I'm gonna go back, but
dude, their jungle's the safest place in the world, man.
Right.
It's the safest place in the world. This is your home. So right now, your judgment of like safety is bad. So now that they brought 2 heroes top, maybe your safety is the triangle. But notice how that triangle, it'll always be there, right? It'll always be there. So if you force 2 or 3 heroes top, guess where you go?
Yeah, you just
go to the triangle.
There.
But this is why it's really bad if you go to the triangle first and then go to the place that was previously safe that's now dangerous. Because now where do you go?
Exactly. You don't really have anywhere to go.
You don't have anywhere
honestly.
to go. And that's why it's so important to farm as aggressively as possible. Because if you're farming as aggressively as possible, if they react to whatever you're doing, you can just back off to safer farm. But if you're taking the safe farm, and the aggressive farm is no longer safe after that point, now what? You know, you just...
Right.
There's nothing to farm. You would have to walk at this PA, which, looking at his health and mana, you probably should, but that's a whole nother... That's probably, I hate to say it, like, that's like 5k level thinking to just walk at a guy. It sounds easy, but it's not. Okay, so my first step for you would be if the opponent's like, okay, just realize to yourself, I would rather you play way more aggressive on this side of the map and just die for it than to play too scared, because you'll just never learn your limits if you don't do that. Like, I want you to play within reason, like make a guess to yourself, but if you're not quite sure and you say the range is between like here and all the way over here, lean towards all the way over here, okay? Like, just...
And plus, one thing I definitely don't do enough, like, Obs Words being free is still new to me. Like, I don't think about it, so I don't really have any excuse for not buying a ward and just putting it in the woods, like, if I am scared. So, I need to get better at that, for sure.
Yeah, no, it took me a very long time to get used to being able to buy myself wards, so don't beat yourself up about that one. It took me probably 200 games before I got used to buying myself wards. As a carry player for a very long time, hard to break that habit.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So yeah, at this stage, the timing is just too slow, right?
I see that now.
If you had an extra 2 minutes to just shove that top tier 2, maybe take tier 1 mid, this game feels so much easier. Look at all the map they could have lost, you know? And now, even though you're up by 6k, I don't know if you end up winning or losing this game, but...
We lose.
Yeah, you just gave them way too much space to hit creeps. And you're clearly content to hit creeps, right? And you may say, BSJ, like, at this stage in the game, I don't feel strong enough to do anything. Didn't I tell you that was kind of going to happen, right? Like, there's going to be this point where you don't want to do anything. And if you haven't done enough prior to that point, then hitting creeps is not good enough. So usually what it means is, like, when you're watching these, like, super high-level games on my stream and you're seeing, like, people say, hey, let's just chill and farm, even if the opponent has, like, an ALK, it's usually because we got a lot done, and then we realize for the time being the best option we have is to just be very efficient and then come out with more farm than they have. But that had to require us to shut them down earlier in the game. So certain games, there's just no option. Like, if you lost your lane real bad, sometimes it can be as simple as, like, you had to be able to take those early game towers, and if you fed a lane, like, fed a kill away to the opponent offlaner, you just lose the game. Like, on the spot. Like, you actually just lose the fucking game. Right? Like, because it's your team's job to, like, make the pace of the game, and it's your hero's job to do it, and you failed. It's like earlier, like yesterday, I had a jug game where I had a Tinker mid, and it was, like, my job to be active in the mid game, and I got randomly speared into his tower at level 3. And my game was actually just ruined. Like, from then on, I was, like, so flustered. I played terribly. But the whole idea in my head is I'm like, I can't do shit. Like, my hero's job is to make space for this Tinker. And because I died at level 3, my game's over. Like, it's actually just over. And
so, like, if you were Jug in this game as opposed to Luna, I feel like it would be the same, right? Like, you still need to, like, pressure the map, and you need to out-net worth them by shutting their map down.
So, my question for you is, do you feel confident as Jug that you could end this game at, like, 25 minutes?
I feel like if you had a good lane, I feel like you could.
Maybe? Is it reliable?
No.
Okay.
No.
So, similar to Luna, what would I look to do on Jug? Because my hero can force towers, right?
Yeah, like same thing. Like you would look to pressure towers early
Okay.
and
And
strip
what
them
item
out.
would I likely go?
Uh, that's a good question. I guess if you were gonna fight
Wouldn't the
early,
time windows against them kind of look similar to this?
yeah, that's what I was trying to think. So, would you get defusal in that type of game?
Anyone here know what
Well-
a
So you
shield
can
lane
fight,
is?
or are you getting a Battle Fury because they have a PL?
Well, my question is, so let's ignore what fucking heroes they have. Why do people
Okay.
think like this? You know, I'm not insulting you.
Eh.
People think like this. It's just a problem. So let's just wade that off.
For
So
sure.
I told you they're heroes, right? Like when I say they're heroes, like I look at their heroes and I'm not cared about like what exactly their heroes do. I look at like what their heroes' kits are. I look at what they like to do, like what these heroes play like. So for the first 15 minutes, are they fighting you?
No.
So as a jug, could you participate in fights with any item in the world?
I think yeah. Once you had like your
This
base
is literally in my
items-
jug guide. I literally mentioned like if they have like a
Once
hard
you have
farming
your,
hero.
like, treads and yeah, I feel like
Yeah,
you could
like
fight.
you can just be there. Like you don't have to necessarily fight, but you can force objectives because their heroes don't participate, right?
Right.
Then at the 15-minute mark or so, they're gonna have a defusal on PL, maybe a deso on PA. Do I want to fight then?
No.
So what do I need?
You need to be able to
I need to be able to farm.
at that point. Yeah.
So on Luna, did I need an item that allowed me to farm?
No. You
No,
have, like, a
Luna
Battle
just
Fury
naturally
built in.
farms. But on Jug, I
Yeah.
needed an item that allowed me to farm. So
Okay.
I need a Battle Fury. But since it's
Okay.
like early in the game that I can still participate, I still need to look to kill towers. I can't be content AFK farming this Battle Fury and leaving all their towers alive. Like that's what people make that's like the 4K mistake. That's where like 4Ks have no clue what they're fucking doing. Okay, like they're like, BSJ, I got this 15-minute Battle Fury and I just lost to this late game PL. And I'm like, well, your hero was supposed to take all of his buildings in the first like 12 minutes of the game, and you sat at your
Right.
own ancients, you know. So it's like, yeah, that's the 4K mentality. But my like, if I can get one or two of these things out of you, it'd be great. So yeah, this is like, as a jug, I would go Battle Fury, but still look to kill buildings. If I'm jug against an Ursa, I might look to go Battle Fury, but I'm not looking to necessarily kill buildings. I'm in the mode of farm, and if the Ursa shows bottom, kill a building. You know what I mean? Like, notice how one of those I'm aggressive, one of those is defensive, but it's the same idea. It's like if I'm aggressive, I'm walking at buildings that I want to kill. If I'm defensive, I'm farming in a way that I think I can, and then if they show somewhere else, I'm walking at the building closest to me. Like,
That makes sense.
you see, like it's a pretty rinse and repeat process. I don't give a shit that they have a PL if I'm Jug. I could go Mjolnir, I could go Battle Fury. It's more so about the pace of the game. Like, how long do I have? Like, but like the way I look at their heroes is yes, you invade them now. You killed their triangle. This is actually great. You guys have to do this. We can't just farm. Okay. So, people in chat, ask yourselves, how important is this tier 2 mid? It's
Say-
a lot. What does this mid tier 2 do for you?
I don't think it necessarily does that much, to be
Cool.
honest.
So, you just got 4 kills. Why are you killing their tier 2?
Right.
What should
Right.
you be doing?
I would
Let's
say
rewind.
yeah.
Okay. We just invaded their triangle. What did I tell you? What mode are we in right now? Are we in mode in-game?
No.
Okay. What mode are we in?
Farm.
Okay.
And like
why,
restrict
though?
map and take towers.
Okay. So, the whole point of everything we're doing at this stage in the game is what?
To restrict their farm and like capitalize on the
To
map.
outfarm them as much as possible. You're going to get 6 slotted at 30 minutes and end the game.
Right.
Right? Or like 35. Whatever. The point is, you're getting your 6 slot as soon as fucking possible, and you're walking down mid with an Aegis and you end the game. Right? So, we kill them. What do you do right after you clear this wave mid?
Based on what we're talking about, I would say TP top and push the tower.
What's another
Or-
reasonable option? I'm just giving you options here.
Yeah. For some reason in my mind, it would be like somebody take the outpost top and we Roche, maybe, or just cut the wave top.
Or just walk at top.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
like I'm just telling you, like, please don't just know that you could just walk there. And
Okay.
what does walking there represent for you?
For me, it's like if you walk there, you can farm your way there, and then you also preserve TP.
Okay,
I don't
it's
know,
mainly that you preserve TP, and you still have Eclipse.
Okay,
So
got it.
if you had used Eclipse, I'd probably TP.
Okay.
But without using Eclipse, you don't have to farm your way there, by the way. You're 370 move speed. You could just walk. You know? I think you're faster than that, aren't you? I think this is a replay bug, because with Yasha, you should be faster than this. Yeah, it's not including your Yasha. Huh. Yeah, you should be like 395. Guess it's a replay bug. Yeah, so you should just walk atop and kill this, right? The point is, you killed heroes, we're in mode farm, accrue as many items as possible. What you do with the opponent's deaths is like 80% of efficiency at this point in the game. I swear, everybody in every bracket does this terribly. Like, it's terrible. Like, whatever you do with their deaths, whether it's an objective, whether it's hitting creeps, whether it's clearing waves, whether or not it's snowballing more kills, like, because I'm like a Slark with 20 Essence Shift stacks, what I'm going to do is probably clear this wave and then sit here farming camps, and if a guy walks up this hill, he's going to die too, you know, like that kind of thing, because I'm a Slark. You know, that's what I'm going to do with that advantage. But like on Luna, I'm just going to clear mid, clear top, like, and by the time they're alive, all three of these lanes are in their fucking towers, right? And then they're splitting up and dealing with the lanes, or they're grouping up and missing farm. So if they split up and deal with the lanes, what are you doing?
Split up and deal with the lanes?
Do you feel strong fighting one or two of them?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, just have little skirmishes. And
yeah, you just ram it down their throat at their tier 2 top, right?
Right.
And if they bring 4 heroes to stop you from pushing top?
Just, yeah, I'll avoid split push kind of thing.
Yeah, you can walk away, maybe TP bottom, since you held the TP.
Okay.
And then walk at this tower, right? Like, if they bring 4 heroes, I usually like to immediately TP elsewhere and force them to bring them there too. Like, and if they don't bring 4 heroes, what did I say you were going to do?
Yeah, just take all their buildings.
Yeah, you just take their buildings. So at this point in the game, I would keep making 4 heroes come to deal with me, and if they're not dealing with me, like, in a way that if they come, I don't die, but if they don't come, they lose their buildings. If they're not showing, like, say you push in this wave, and they're all respawning, and they don't show, what do you do?
Just farm safely in that
area though, right?
Probably. Yeah.
Perfect. You don't leave. You just farm in that area, but in a safely until what?
Until something changes, like they show, or
until they give you whatever information you're looking for. Cool. Okay. Yeah, tier 2 mid doesn't do shit. Look at the time they spent being dead. Like, who cares about this Shakira?
Right.
They're dead. Look at like what's happening effectively in the game, right? Now your puck is forced to go top. Now you're fighting mid without a puck. And actually gave a triple kill to their PA. Why did this happen?
Yeah, because we didn't do anything when they were dead. We just like sat mid and got chipped down, basically.
Beautiful. Okay. Dota's pretty simple sometimes. The point is, if you usually know what general mode you're in, your decision making is pretty easy. Like, if I'm in mode farm, where's the wave I'm gonna go farm? You know, if I'm in mode take objectives, what's the closest objective? You know, like, okay, so they just overextended and fed. Cool.
I feel like that happens a lot in my games.
Yeah, it should. It absolutely should. People should easily feed you free kills. Why do we care about this tier 2? This time around, it's actually reasonable. But why? Because top lane's pushed in, bottom lane's not going to happen. You want to walk Roche? This is green. Fine. We could have avoided that little mishap of a triple kill to PA, but other than that, everything's fine right now.
I think we actually just lose here. Like, this fight is like a big feed for us. Like, we didn't have Pudge and Puck.
A dominating performance.
Yeah, we die.
This even happens in my games. Many of your Pudge TP's bottom, what does that mean for you?
Just and Puck not being there, just go back.
You're done.
Just yeah.
It happens in my games too. It just has to be like, in my games it's usually communicated like I'm TPing bottom, because why is that so heavily communicated if somebody TP's bottom like that?
Because it just affects what we can do.
It affects the entire team, right? Like, if you're TPing bottom, you should know that. Like, at least in my bracket, there's still people that don't know that, and it's hilarious. But, like, you know, if you TP bottom like this after an Aegis, for instance, or your whole team's top, you have to understand as a player, anyone watching, this alters your entire team. Like, this affects your entire team. So the team's job is to alter how they're playing based on it, and it's their job to communicate that they're doing it. If either one of those doesn't happen, it can result in disaster, like actual, game-losing disaster. So, and you're going to see that happen here, obviously. It's not that this couldn't work, but the odds, like, if the enemy team's ever going to win a fight, this is when they're going to win it. Your Pudge DB bottom, your Puck was mid, right? That's when they're going to win. It's like if I'm the opponent team in that spot and I'm losing, I'm literally saying, I'm looking for exactly what Pudge just did. Like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for any opportunity that we can take in an advantageous fight in numbers,
Yeah,
so
makes sense.
when you're ahead, it's really important to think, like, what's the opponent seeing and what are they looking for. So that was obviously a really long replay. I try to do at least 2 replays. So let's do a really quick one if you got one more. If you don't, that's fine. But if you got one more, let's do it real quick. I took a long time on that one.
Let's do a real quick one here.
And if you have a specific moment or like time frame in the game you want me to watch, I can do
Yeah,
that.
I just want to watch like the first 6 minutes of the game. I just want to focus on like lane pressure, like getting the most out of the lane as possible,
cool.
harassing them.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I watch a lot of high level games by like minute 9, like you guys are just like by yourself in the safe lane and like nobody can come to the lane. So
okay. Who are
cool
you in
to
this
be able
game?
to
Sorry.
learn. Wraith King.
Wraith King. Okay. Looks like obviously a stomp, but you want to.
It's a good game, but yeah, I always feel like I don't really do anything in lane that's strong. That's like exerting my strength or so.
Okay. Yeah. We'll talk about it real quick. Okay. So you are against a Legion Commander or a Bristle plus. I would buy a Ring of Protection here. I know you have it queued up, but at the start of the game you have 2 armor, and like literally all of these heroes are physical damage. So I don't even know who you're laning against, but like literally all of them. Maybe not Viper, but out of all the heroes to be in your lane, I think it's least likely the Viper. So I would buy a Ring of Protection to start this game. Too much regen, I think, to start. You can always fly yourself more. If you think you need a salve, whatever lane you're in, just go Tango Salve and fly yourself more later. Like, spend that gold on another item. Very rarely do I ever come to lane with this much regen. Very rarely. With your own courier, it just doesn't make too much sense anymore. Okay, so we see... Glitch? Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Thanks and have fun.
Okay. Brief, because we gotta be quick. What's Bristleback's power spikes? When is he weak? When is he strong?
I think he's strong at odd levels.
Okay.
Like 3, 5, etc.
Cool. And when's he super weak?
Level 1, maybe?
Okay. So, on Wraith King, what should you level on level 1 against Bristleback?
I'm assuming stun.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Because once he's level 3, are you trading with him?
No.
So are you casting any stuns, really?
Probably not.
Not very many.
No.
Would you be content using all of your mana on stuns at level 1?
Yeah, I think
to
you're
win
fine
the
with
lane
that.
at that point? Because
Yeah,
if
I
you're
think
against
you're fine with
heroes like Timber and Bristle and you let them get to level 3 at the same time you do, or before you, the lane's fucking over, dude. Doesn't matter what hero you are. Lane's fucking over, okay? You can't let them get to level 3 at the same time you do. You just can't. It's too... They're not only is it because their level 3 is so strong, but their level 1 is just usually really bad. Like, really bad. So, letting a hero get through that weak point that easily and be at their strong point while ahead is, like, just lane losing. So, this is an instant, like, you know, obviously your Lich feeding is just unfortunate DC, but... You know, you played in a way that's like, I'm just gonna let this guy hit creeps. You can't let a guy. It's just like the equivalent of 15 minutes of letting a PA and PL just hit creeps, right? It's not okay. In the laning stage, it's not okay to just let a level 1 Bristleback hit some creeps. He should have to spend all of his fucking mana and do all he fucking can to get any of those creeps. That's what I have to do. And whenever I'm Bristle, that's what my opponents make me do. Okay, so let's see here. This is important though, because some waves or some matchups, it's the opposite, where all you have to do is survive until level 4 or something. You know, like you just have to make it to a certain point. And at that point, you kind of just scrape for whatever farm you can get, and you
like
aggro.
If you're like a morph or something. Like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
maybe?
morph. Perfect, perfect
okay.
example. Morph's level 3 is the reverse, right? His like now you guys are trying to stun and fight him when he's level 3. What happens now? Yikes!
Right now
you
he
know?
died. Yep.
At this point in the lane, you're like, Lich, just go pull, man, and I'll soak underneath my tower. Like that's what I'd be saying. Our interaction with this bristleback is done. That's how I'm looking at it. So you're starting to max your passive skills, which is good. So in this case, notice how I actually am happy with what you're doing right now. Why?
Tower is under attack.
Just because we're behind, we can't fight, kinda.
You don't really... Okay, so how do you deal with Bristle if he's even with you or ahead?
I just like ignore him basically.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Honestly.
Cool.
Or
That's
like
exactly what
if
you
we
do.
have like 4 or 5 heroes that can kill him. Or
You
something,
either
I don't
like
know.
3-4 man gank him or you just ignore his existence. Like that's how you deal with Bristle, right? So you walking up and hitting creeps when he was gone, perfect. This not perfect, right? Why are you interacting with this guy?
Right.
Don't interact with him. If he's gonna walk at you, then you have to learn like, okay, maybe I have to farm jungle and defend my tower like this. Right? Okay, you want to throw an aggressive stun at him right there because you had stick charges? Sure, go ahead. Great. Overall, your laning is fine. You're against a solo offlaner who got fed a kill. Other than your level 1 skilling, there's not too much to say about what's happened here. If you think you can't interact with him, like this is, in my opinion, bad. Because what if he had a rotation there? Like what if he goos you and just somebody TP's in?
Right.
Right? You have to either walk away or instantly TP away, hopefully. Like, you probably have to TP away. You skipped your ultimate, which I think is a bit greedy. Like, usually I hold this skill point and then, like, level it if I think I can afford to, kind of thing. But, this idea is that I'm ignoring this bristleback, but what am I not letting him do? Take my tower.
Take our
right?
towers?
Yeah, I'm not letting him take my tower.
Okay.
So, I would probably not even fuck with him up here. Like, all the way down here. I think
I end up leaving the lane pretty soon for the most part.
Well, my point is, like, you can easily just farm around here if the lane's all the way back here, because that means you have, like, an extra 20 seconds before it gets to your tower, right? Like, or not 20, like 10. If you're, so you can maybe farm farther away from your lane. How far can you farm away from your lane?
Just however far, like if as long as you're back in time.
Yeah, as long as you're back in time, right? And if I walk over and this small camp is just never there, what do I do?
Just buy a ward.
Buy a sentry, right?
Yeah.
Fucking de-ward your own small camp. By all means, if it's a sentry, whatever, you're gonna get that money back in the first creep camp that spawns. And if it's not a sentry, you gained gold. Cool. I've casually de-warded wards all the fucking time in my own safe lane. Like, it's like, oh, cool. Like if I'm gonna be farming here, what's my only concern?
Just that I don't get my tower taken.
Like, I don't get my tower taken, my camps are there, and I don't die.
Yep.
So wards help all three of those things. Wards make it so they feel more comfortable killing your tower. Wards make it so they see you and gank you, and wards block your camp. So is it worth it to me to de-ward potentially?
Right, absolutely.
Absolutely, right? Like it's effective net farm for me over the course of like 3 or 4 minutes. Like it's absolutely worth it. So as a carry, something not only is it that like you can get used to buying wards for free, but wards nowadays, as opposed to like 2 years ago or whatever, they give a shit ton of gold for de-warding them.
How does it work? Like I feel like sometimes I kill obs wards and I don't get gold. Is it?
It's
the person
whoever
that
bought the
buys
detection.
sentry?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I like that actually a lot.
Yeah. That's how it works. So I don't mind buying my sentry at all. I want that fucking 170 gold, man. I want it.
Right.
You know, that's you get XP for de-warning anyway. But yeah, I've been buying a lot more casual sentries at this point in the game. It's mainly when my support leaves. Like if I'm still getting babysat, I'm never buying a fucking sentry. Okay, but like if I'm like a Wraith King or a Slark and I'm just chilling on my own side of the map and farming, I'll buy a sentry. Okay, so your Nyx went top, and you want to rotate to bottom. I don't hate this. I don't usually rotate
Felt like
like
he
this.
was just so weak that.
Yeah, he's level 4. Sure. You want to do that? Great. I think the ability to feel strong and just walk at them. You're the only hero that kills buildings. This is the kind of rotation I'd like to see on Luna. Once you had the Helm Dom treads, but obviously it'd be a bit later there.
Tower has fallen.
You felt strong. You just walked at them. Most notably in this draft, you're the only hero on your team that kills buildings. So this rotation to bottom is fine. If you had an offlaner that naturally kills buildings, this rotation might be worse. Because then at that point, you're giving up farm top to do nothing. That couldn't already be done. But since you're the only guy that kills buildings, by showing up to bottom like this, you've now opened up the map a lot. That rotation can win and lose games, by the way. Like, the fact that you made this rotation is very good. I wasn't, you know, I said I'd do quick on this game, so I didn't look closely. But since you are the only hero that kills buildings, that was a very efficient, quick rotation. Take over this part of the map, and you're the one that's pressuring the lanes and towers.
I wish I could say that was my thought process, but it was just like, I didn't want to lane against Bristle anymore, and that guy was really weak, so...
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm saying, like, sometimes you stumble upon the right answer.
Right. No, I see it now, though.
Yeah, it actually is. I'm not just saying it because it worked out. It's like, it's very obvious that it will work now that I look at the game and look at your hero and how it plays into your own draft and stuff. So if you want to go back to bottom, or sorry, back to top, that's absolutely fine. You took the one tower that really matters. You're kind of in mode farm again. You don't have ult, so you're also going to be much more passive on the map. You're playing around mid, which I think is fine. Unfortunate spawns of skeletons there.
I didn't know that was possible, so...
Yeah, I've never seen that. Your Lich stacked a bunch of camps for you. You're gonna have a super farmed game. Okay. Honestly, I think your rotations early this game, even though you stumbled upon the right answer, were pretty good. I'm just gonna highly emphasize all the things I talked about in the Luna game, but also boiling it down to lane matchups too. You know, in the Bristleback, where's the power spikes? Where does it lie? It'll dictate so much of your game plan, from like as basic as the level 1 to as advanced as like the 15-minute mark. What are you doing, right? It's not something where it's going to be perfect, but you've had a pretty good instinct of like, hey, I should be being aggressive, or I should be killing stuff, or I should be just farming, you know? And if that's the case, itemize, skill builds, all should line up with that. That's my biggest issue that I saw a lot. You had a lot of inefficiency with that. And, like, I asked you when Bristle's strong, you knew, right? So it's like, if I have this ability, am I really feeling like it's an effective use of my mana to stun him when he's level 3 and I've eaten 3 quills? It's like, not really. You know, but at level 1, sure, I'll throw as many stuns as I want at this guy, because those quills just don't hurt yet, you know? Obviously, I didn't know who your lane opponent was, so it's, like, hard to go stick at the very start. Like, it could have been Legion, you know, all kinds of stuff. I would have definitely gotten the Ring of Protection. But even though you don't have the stick against Bristle right away, you still have mana for like 4 stuns level 1, so you can just throw them out at him, right? It's mainly like, for me, I'm willing to use all of my mana if I don't think I'm going to use it later. It's something that's a skill I've picked up pretty recently, like last year or so. I'm just like, well, I don't mind throwing all my mana out if I don't plan to use it later. So that's it. Any final questions, sir?
No, man, I just need to get better. I think for me, once the lane starts, it's very difficult to like think about a lot of this stuff. So I need to do a much better job, like in that first, minute of the game.
Dude, I've put so much emphasis and highlights so much on that first minute of the game, dude. So much needs to be done there that, like you said, it's just not possible during the lane. Like, you can't think about it after it's already going on. Like, you're just so busy. Right? Like, as a carry player, you're just so busy. So, yeah, it does absolutely have to be premeditated.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's, like, my biggest takeaway. I really appreciate your time, bro.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye.